So we're here taking a look at the P&H Hammer. This is P&H's new Playful Sea Kayak. This is a very, very different boat to anything that we've paddled or tested before. Whereas a lot of manufacturers have started making Playful Sea Kayaks, taking a traditional sea kayak shape but shortening it down, adding more rocker into the hull, playing with that to get something that's more playful. What P&H have done this time is they've used all of their knowledge of white water boats and merged that into their knowledge of sea kayaks. So their link with Piranha really coming to the fore in this. Effectively what they've done is they've taken a white water boat and made it appropriate for use on the sea. So what have we got that's familiar to sea kayakers? Well, the deck layout for starters. We've got 4 hatches, front and back, day hatch, deck hatch, just as we'd expect. We've got a full length set of deck lines, and we've got bungees for strapping stuff down and getting kit onto the boat. So it's got all the spec that we need. Bulkheads are big, decent foam bulkheads, tie down points behind the seat, grab handles front and back for rescue situations and also for carrying, everything we'd expect to see. But then we start to see more of the white water sort of features come into it. If we look at the cockpit outfitting, we've got the Connect system, so good thigh braces, padding on the seat, back band, and the ratchet system on the thigh braces. That means that we're able to lock in very, very tight to the boat, perfect for those situations where we need good connectivity. We've also got a full plate footrest in here, traditional white water style. So if we're taking any sort of impact on the front of the boat, we've got the safety and the security of that compared to the smaller footrests that we find in traditional sea kayaks. The other place to start looking at this is the hull and the hull shape. You can see that we've got big boxy sidewalls on the side of the boat here, and we spin it up on edge. We've got a hard rail running a significant length of the boat, which is going to be brilliant in the surf. We've also got the very, very flat hull on here. All right, that's going to have a dramatic impact on the way that this boat handles and manoeuvres. So let's think about how it does handle. First of all, speed. This is not a quick boat. It's going to get up to its maximum speed pretty quickly. It accelerates reasonably well, but once it's up to its maximum speed, it tends to plane and sit there. What does that mean on a long day out? Well, folks who are in traditional sea kayaks are going to be streaking ahead of you, absolutely no question about it. But over shorter distances or quieter, gentler paddles, we didn't have a problem staying alongside people, just had to work a bit harder, so fitness definitely comes into play on that. The other key thing with the manoeuvrability is how quickly it spins. It handles much more like a white water boat. The second you get in it, you put in your first gentle sweep stroke and you're round more than 180 degrees. Absolutely gobsmacking. So in the surf, inside small caves and rock gardens that are tight and running through the goes, you've got manoeuvrability that you just don't get in any other sea kayak, which makes it amazing fun to paddle. The other thing I think is that the build quality is very, very much in line with things like the Piranha Burn, those really good quality white water boats, which means that this can bash off rocks and things that most other sea kayaks can't. What do we think overall? I think this boat, the only way I can describe it is a bit of a Marmite boat. It's going to divide, I think. It's going to divide people's opinions. Some people are going to love it. Some people are going to hate it. Some people are going to not see the point of it, can't work it out. All I can say is get in one and try it and play with it, because it is fantastic fun, really, really comfortable, really lovely boat to paddle. Get it into the rock gardens and the caves and it absolutely shines. And if you take a look at some of the footage that Simon Osborne's got of it playing in the surf, it surfs brilliantly. But I also think it's got potential for people who are coaching, maybe at the sort of the lower levels where you're doing, a little bit of sort of river touring and a sort of very basic white water and some introduction to sea kayaking. We've had it out with some coaches who've used it on introduction to sea kayaking days, very kind of basic, kind of close-in coastal touring, and had a wonderful time coaching from it as a boat. I think it's got potential there. It's also got potential, I think, that there are going to be some people who pick up one of these and find it so comfortable and the cockpit area is so large that they take to it as an estuary touring boat where they're not bothered about the speed, but the short length, that sort of 14-foot length in terms of storage, the relatively lightweight of getting it on and off of cars. Okay, we've seen that happen with things like the Delphin, for example. It might not be the best boat for their needs, but I think it might become a bit of a winner with people like that. I think it is a brilliant boat. I wouldn't swap my sea kayak for it, I wouldn't swap my white water boat for it, but I'd love one on the rack for taking out when the conditions are right. And I think we've still got a lot to learn about what this boat can do. So folks like Jeff and Simon down at Sea Kayaking Cornwall, folks like the Hurricane Riders, we're going to start to see them really explore its full potential, and that's going to be quite exciting and interesting to watch.